Today, we commemorate September 11th, nearing the 20th anniversary of the day, the hour, the moment that moved us out of an old world and into the new age in which we now live. Nothing, of course, can be said, no image shown, no memory recounted here or elsewhere that will adequately honor the dead from that day or from the last 20 years. For those Americans who gave their last full measure of devotion in the fight against the darkest forces of terror. Lincoln's words at Gettysburg resonate still and will be especially relevant over the next 24 hours. We cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men and women, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. And so it is today. Mika's at the Pentagon, and Willie is at Ground Zero, a location every bit as sacred to Americans as Gettysburg, or the Edmund Pettus Bridge, or the waters surrounding the USS Arizona, and of course, the patch of land in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where the heroes of Flight 93 inspire us still. Let's go to Willie at Ground Zero.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Yeah, on this September 10th, you think about this day 20 years ago, and as you put it so well, this was sort of the last day before everything changed. September 10th, 2001, we know at 8:46, when that first plane hit the North Tower right behind me, that our world changed, that the America changed, but that the globe changed as well. We're now at the end of a 20-year war that was launched because of the attacks of that day here at Ground Zero at the Pentagon, where Mika is, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Here in New York, 2,753 people die. And I have to say, coming here today, 20 years later, living in this city, coming by here as often as I do, it's never any less powerful. When you walk up to this beautiful memorial that's been here now for 10 years, and you look at the names etched forever in stone, looking down into the pool that flows into a waterfall, down well beneath the surface, down to where the World Trade Center's towers once stood, it still hits you. And I grew up just across the river in New Jersey. There were 12 people in my town of Ridgewood, New Jersey, who died, including my next door neighbor, including a very good family friend of ours. Members of my own family escaped the building, one of them pregnant, running down 70 flights of stairs. But you don't have to have had that close of a connection to it to appreciate when you're here what this means and the power of this place 20 years later. I'll get the cliche right out at the top. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years because the memory is so vivid, because that day is so seared into our hearts, into our souls, into our imaginations. And now as the sun comes up over New York City and we approach the 20th.
Turn on the TV.
It's Stacy calling. I know it seems weird to call you, but a jet just crashed into the World Trade Center.
It's how the story of that day began for so many. A call from a friend, a relative. You have to see this.
A plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center.
I'm so worried about you. Where are you?
In a world without Twitter, we reached out in the only ways we could.
I just need to know that you're okay, sweetheart, so please just call me.
We were witnessing the first national calamity of the digital age. Every voicemail, every email was writing history's narrative in real time.
It's the human experience of a historical event. And your point of entry is that this event happened to people, just like you and me. They were people who went to their offices one morning with a cup of coffee and sat down at their desk, and literally all hell broke loose.
And so in the 9/11 Memorial and Museum's Oral History exhibit, it is the voices of those everyday people weaving the story of that day.
Message 5 from an unknown number. Received September 11th at 8:59 a.m.
Hey, Beverly, this is Sean. In case you get this message, there's been an explosion in World Trade 1. That's the other building. It looks like a plane struck it. It's on fire at about the 90th floor, and it's horrible.
Sean Rooney called his wife several times from the 105th floor of the South Tower.
This is Sean again. Looks like will be in this tower for a while.
Like so many that day, Sean Rooney didn't make it home. Those who died and those who escaped the buildings are part of a painful mosaic. Judy Ween also worked in the South Tower. She survived.
It was pitch black. I went to get up, but I was literally walking over bodies. So many people just died at that moment.
Bruno Dellinger recalls passing firefighters as he evacuated.
While I was walking down, they were going up to their death, and I was walking down to live.
There is also the remarkably calm flight attendant Betty Ong on board hijacked Flight 11.
And the cockpit is not answering their phones, and there's somebody staffed in business class.
She was giving critical information.
We have voicemail today, but we don't use it like we did back in 2001. How critical are those snippets in telling this bigger story?
Those voicemail messages are so important because we can hear what was going through their minds and through their hearts.
Jules, this is Ryan. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked, and things don't go well, and it's not looking good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you.
And we are not spared the crushing heartbreak of final goodbyes, like the message Brian Sweeney, a passenger aboard United Flight 175, left for his wife.
I want you to do good, so happy this time. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you. Hi, babe. I'll call you.
Images of 9/11 are seared in our memories, but what was heard and said and what we remember and share will always take us to that day and closer to those we lost.